we left at exchange information requirements, and that's what I'm going to dive into. Let's see if I can cover this in one session. It looks that it's quite a long document, not extremely long, but maybe for this time for me, but I'm not sure. So let's see. If you are here, if you are watching this, I would love to hear from you. So say hi in the comments. And yeah, let's get started. Let's see. I'm going to share this. Yeah, let me share this. And now you should be able to see my screen. And now I'll go here. Yeah. As you know already, we started to go over these documents, and now we are at the exchange information requirements at requirement specification. This document has been updated or released on 18th of March 2025, so kind of half a year ago. And this is the part 2.1. I'm not going to go over the contents. I see that this has also something about buildings. So yeah, I think the intention here is for buildings. I will go on. I don't want to go too much into like why don't we have for infrastructure. I think mainly actually there are many infrastructure projects which are more mature and are already doing these things. But I think yeah, this aims for a wider adoption. Okay, explanation of color and type. Black text, part of framework, can be distributed as is. A red text example shall be changed to project information before distribution. A red italic, guidance to fill out information, shall be deleted before distribution. Okay, exchange information requirements. General. Exchange information requirements are a compilation of information requirements for an agreed information delivery. Exchange information requirements are abbreviated to EIR. The exchange information requirements is an aggregation and detailed specification of overall requirements from three sources of requirements: the organizational information requirements, OER, organization information requirements, the asset information requirements, AR, and the project information requirements, PER. The ER specifies information to be exchanged between appointed parties, the appointing party, and other agreed stakeholders, and ensure that all parties have the necessary data for their tasks. The appointing party is responsible for establishing and maintaining the ER. Source: ISO standard 19651. Required use of information. Just one second, let's see if I chose the proper microphone. Yes, okay. Still no one says hello. Come on, guys, don't be shy, okay? Say hello. I like to have this as a conversation, okay? Even if I'm reading mostly to this, and I'm also adding my opinion where I will feel like, but yeah, the best reason for me to discuss is are your comments. So leave me comments, okay? Yeah. Information requirements specify what information is needed, when it is required, in what format, and who the recipient is. These requirements may originate from the appointing parties, organizational level, OER, asset manager, or the project, PER. High-level requirements are translated into specific information deliverables, referred to as EIR requirements. It is recommended to include the original requirements, from which the EIR is derived, in the tender documents shared with potential lead appointed parties. This provides appointed parties with a better understanding of the purpose of the information and enables them to contribute optimally to meeting the needs. The required use of BIM is defined in clause 1.2.2 to 1.2.8. Okay, so starting here. ER01, project overview. Report on project status about the progression, financial frame, deviations, and risks. This includes making the models available to the project's participants. ER02, modeling and model-based interaction. Bill Bill, oh my God. BIM shall be used as the primary method for documentation and decision making. Design disciplines develop and maintain models. You heard that, my friends? Models, not drawings, okay? Models that represent the project's development. Models, again, models, not drawings, are developed to support the project decision making. Models, again, you hear me, right? Models should represent the maturity of the project according to the life cycle standard adopted. BIM is used as the primary method for documentation and decision making. Design disciplines develop and maintain models that represent the project's development. You heard that right? So design disciplines develop and maintain models, not drawings. Models. Sorry for this. I really have to repeat it because there are so many people still crying and being so tied to drawings. They still see, they live in the past. Sorry for being so blunt, but that's what you do. You don't fully embrace BIM. Yeah, that represent the project's development. EIR 03, interdisciplinary coordinated and controlled information. Appointed parties compile information models and geometrical and functional deviations are registered. Information models, again, information models, not drawing models or drawing information, okay? Information models are checked according to geometrical and alphanumerical requirements. Deviations are reported and corrected. Control is documented. EIR 04, cost estimation information. Model-based cost estimation as a means to cost-driven design. Again, I don't see anywhere Excel or PDFs or drawings, my friends. Model. The project will use models for frequent quantity takeoff for cost estimation. EIR 05, production information. Appointed parties shall support optimizing the use of models to procure, plan, and execute production. Exactly what I did the past 3 years using IFC models mostly. So yes, it is possible and you can do that too. You just have to invest some time and learn how to. And of course, I can help you to do that. You know why? You don't know what and how? Reach out to me on LinkedIn or go to bimvoice.com because I have a lot of training on these things. This includes coordinating with contractors and subcontractors on information deliverables. EIR 06, completion and handover. Appointed parties shall complete and hand over as build information and documentation as part of the facility management information. It also includes PIM, setup, and project information management, I think, setup and information protocol documentation. I hope this is clear enough, guys. Sorry for having to act like this, like a child, but I really have to do it. I get so much opposition when I talk about model-based construction. And that's exactly what the freaking ISO standards are telling us that we are supposed to do. And that's happening in Norway. And people are still talking about drawings like they're dear children. I don't understand. It's possible. It's happening at scale in Norway and other places, at scale, not in one project, not in one pilot project. So yes, you can do that. You can build buildings and infrastructure projects without drawings. It's possible. You just have to understand how you switch your mind from using drawings and learn how to use models, and then you make them, add the proper information, check them, and distribute them to everyone involved in the project, and it's possible. All right, level of information need. General, this specifies the information to be delivered. Prerequisites. All modeling disciplines are required to contribute to the agreed upon information and support model-based project execution. Wow, I cannot believe. It's like this standard is the first time I'm going through this standard. It's like they were reading my mind. So support model-based execution, project execution. Okay, you understand that? I'm so relieved and so happy to see this, that at the European level, it's a wish to implement this. Just look at what Norway is doing, because they are doing it already, okay? This applies to the 5 primary design disciplines: architectural, landscape, architectural, structural, plumbing, mechanical, and electrical. There are still things that can be improved in Norway as well, by the way, as a detour. If the responsibility for design is transferred to other parties, such as subcontractors, these parties are also required to deliver information that complies with these requirements. All information deliveries must undergo quality assurance and be submitted by the agreed milestone. Welcome to the world of ideas. And welcome to why not most people are using ideas, because they don't understand. They don't want to see and expose how shitty their models are. These milestones are strategically set to support decision-making process and ensure smooth progress into production. By adhering to this milestone, the project maintains a structured workflow, enabling timely evaluations and adjustments as needed. Information is exchanged at predetermined intervals to facilitate interdisciplinary coordination and control. The structural exchange allows for gradual progress toward full interdisciplinary alignment, minimizing conflicts and enhancing overall project efficiency. A regular coordination ensures that all disciplines are synchronized, leading to a cohesive and integrated project outcome. This is music to my ears, guys. Let's see if somebody has said hello. Hello, hello. I'm saying hello, hello. Hey, Abdallah or Ahmed. I'm not sure which is your first name, but hello. Nice to meet you. Thank you for saying hello. I really appreciate it. Now, let's get back to business. I'd love to hear from you. What do you think about this? Do you like what you see so far? Do you believe that it's possible to build projects using only models and digital drawings? What do you think about that? Cool. Now let's go to requirements for geometrical information, 2.3. Description of geometrical information that can be expressed using the independent aspect: detail, dimensionality, location, appearance, and parametrical behavior. Very interesting, very interesting. I love it. The geometry shall be representative of the physical product. It shall be possible to see what the object represents. The outer boundaries of the object shall be representative for the purpose of spatial coordination. The geometry of the individual objects shall not be detailed, as it can slow down the aggregated model. So extremely important. The geometry shouldn't be very detailed. And this is a big problem for pipes and electrical stuff and mechanical stuff. They are so overly detailed because they come from some mechanical tools, and when they get exported to IFC, these models are dragging down entire projects because they are overly detailed, and that level of detail is not needed for the purpose of to build a project, right? And by the way, I also have to say that with geometry we do so very well so far. The focus is mostly on geometry. That's one of the reasons why IDS is not so much used, because everyone still is in love with geometry and don't want to move past geometry to information. That's where the fun starts, actually, or begins. The geometry, yeah, so I love this. The model use an absolute location reference, either global coordinates or local point of origin. Local point of origin, yeah. Global coordinates, I think, sounds better because, yeah, all the models we work with should be georeferenced. This is the first thing that makes me raise my eyebrows, let's say. So let's see, can I make a comment? Yeah, I can make a comment, either global. And I don't like global coordinates. I think georeferencing. Maybe go for georeferencing. Done. Save that. Okay. It's okay. I'll save it later, so it's good. Requirements for alphanumerical information. Alphanumerical. Description of detail and extent of information that can be expressed using characters, digits, and symbols or tokens, such as mathematical symbols and punctuation marks. Alphanumerical information can be used to either specify identification or properties of an object. Hear that? Very interesting, right? This alphanumerical information sucks, my friends. sucks big time, and that's why no one wants to use IDS, because they are going to see how bad their models are. They're models that are just the sidekick of their project, because they don't want to use their models as their main assets, information assets, as exactly this EIR it's telling us that we should do. Okay. Oh, so much banter, Okay, so your name is Abdallah. Nice to meet you, Abdallah. Thank you very much for specifying that. Hello, Juma. Thanks for joining us. Nice to meet you, sir. And by the way, guys, where are you from? I'd love to hear that. I'm going to go back now. Okay, so table 1, information level requirements for alphanumerical information. You find this table in the spreadsheet version, Harmony. Okay, there is also the spreadsheet version where we have both the ER and BEP. Let's see, what do we have here? Object type, yeah, should have object types for all the disciplines. Object type descriptive name for architectural, LAN. What is LAN? Landscape. Okay, landscape architectural, structural, plumbing, mechanical, electric. Yeah. So most details are required most of the time in architectural, landscape, and structural. And also, yeah, object occurrence name. Yeah, so here is a clear example why we should use types. So we should have types, right? Location system. Location system. It's a bit weird, location system. Yeah, anyway, and it's not required for architectural. Yeah, it's for systems. Okay, so plumbing, mechanical, electrical. Yeah, it makes sense. System code, process status code, MMI. MMI stands for Model Maturity Index, actually, in Norwegian, and it's a standard for that. So I'm not sure what's this process status code. I think this might be a mistake. Comment, is this a mistake? Unleave this. Duplicate object should be specified if it's a duplicate. Is external, fire rating. So these are mandatory for everything. Acoustic property, U value, and load bearing for the structural ones. Makes sense. Yeah, the acoustical property should be in the architectural and the landscape one. Yeah, and U value. U value, what was it? Was it used for light calculations or energy optimization, something like that? Yeah, I'm not going to go over this, but actually let's go. Requirements are explained in the table below. Explanation of requirements of architectural, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, PS project stage. Okay, project stage. The project stages refers to ISO as a common reference. Read more in clause 3.3. Project stages. Okay, project stage 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. Applies only to elements with pset common. 4, where do we have 4? 4, we don't see it anywhere. Not here, maybe in the future. Indicates that requirements for the property are found on property sets for specific object class, like IFC wall common, IFC slab common. It's used to indicate that it applies to several object classes: column, beams, wall, decks, doors. Yeah. How long is this? I don't want to make this too long. Egypt. Hey, cool to hear that, guys. From Denmark. So Juma is from Denmark and Abdallah is from Egypt. Nice to meet you guys. I didn't visit Egypt so far. I'm in Malaysia right now, by the way, but I did visit Denmark, and I really like it. I was there in the summer a few years ago. I really liked it. Okay, so let's go to the next point. Let's see. Yeah, it's here explained. So yeah, actually it explains all of this. So let me cover these things, and then I think I'm going to wrap it up, and I'm going to continue next time with this. I don't want to go to use too many sessions either. So let's see, let's go. Maybe I can manage to go over everything. Okay, so explanation of requirements for alphanumerical information. This table explains the requirements for alphanumerical information specified in table 1. The information shall be exchanged in a standardized and consistent manner and shall be quality assured. Yes, IDS is the best possible thing ever invented for this. So that's why we have to use IDS. I'm thirsty, sorry for that. Had a dinner at a Thai barbecue restaurant, and it was spicy, and a lot of water is needed after. Object type name identifies the type of the element. Identification of type is important for cost analysis. Do you hear that, guys? That's why we need types. Building specifications, a specification linking to product documentation, etc. Name is specified as an attribute of IFC root. Yeah, so they talk about actually how to properly use it using IFC. So not just have a custom pset called type. No, you have to use type. Elements are the common term for all object classes that represent physical buildings, objects. Example, pillar, staircase, pump, and lamp. Ideally, the name is allocated to the entity's object name. Yeah. However, some authoring tools use name on the object type for other purposes. In that case, it may be necessary to allocate the object type name on the object occurrence. The object type name is specified using IFC root name on the object's type. Object type descriptive name. I think I can show you in Bonsai what all these things mean, but I will do that in a future session because otherwise it will become too long. So a good topic for that then is for me to cover this. Object type descriptive name. Descriptive names are used, for example, by calculator and description manager to understand what the object is. For technical disciplines, if the object type code is enough to indicate the object, this is not needed. The object type name is specified using IFC root description on the object's type. Yeah, this is kind of a very shallow way of using IFC schema, because kind of I feel that it assumes that people know what a type is, and I'm sure that most of us don't. Object occurrence name. Occurrence means like one unique object in your model. A type is like a Revit family, like a definition of a kind of object. Let's say a wall, 200 millimeter stick made of concrete. That's a type that can be reused by more occurrences. But an occurrence is a specific segment that it has a unique global ID and all this like unique volume and the area and so on. This information is necessary for document information specifically for the separate occurrence of the object. This is typically a component class code followed by a serialized number. The object type name is specified using IFC root name on the object's instance level. Location of technical system. This is a project-specific code communicating the location of the primary system. This usually applies to technical systems, but it can also apply to grouping building components using a functional system, example, building envelope. The code is not supported by IFC. It requires a user-defined property set and property. For example, you can have like something EU harm reference ref pre syslog. System code, the system code of the primary system that the object belongs to. This is important to communicate the object's relation to a system. This usually applies to technical systems, but it can also apply to grouping building components into a functional system. Building envelope, the code is not supported by IFC. It requires a user-defined property set and or a custom property set, how I usually call it, and the property. For example, this is the pset, EU harm and the reference, or yeah, it starts, the pset is this, and this is the name, ref pre sys occurrence. According to recommended rule for user-defined properties in addition to the IFC standard shall have a user-defined property set. User-defined property sets should have prefix starting with country code followed by a code signifying the author of the property set and property. Okay, interesting. This is a good standardization, actually. Harm comes from harmony then. Okay, I understand. EU harmony. The property should be in English and be logically readable without being too long. Makes sense. I like this. I like the logic. I'm going to make some workshops about this at some point, and this is a great point, actually. Process status code. I'm still confused by this. PSC. Why do we use MMI? Because in Norway, MMI means something else. So again, correct. I have to double check this because I think we will see soon MMI described differently. A code communicating the model's maturity. Yeah, it makes sense actually. Okay. Yeah. But because it's called MMI here, it makes me think that they have just used it from Norway. So the origin of this comes from Norway because this system is for many years in place in Norway, and it's called MMI, Model Maturity Index. So that's why I think they made the translation in English, and yeah, it still kept these letters. A code communicating the model's maturity on object level. According to the project decision and QA process, the code is not supported by IFC. It requires a user-defined property. Process status. Duplicate object. Okay, let's see what this is. The code communicates that another discipline is responsible for the object. Okay. The object is included in the model to show appearance, location, or the like, but technical information about the object is described in the model to the discipline responsible. The value for the property is filled with the discipline abbreviation of the discipline responsible for the object. For example, arc, str, blah, blah, blah. The code is not supported by IFC. It requires a user-defined. Okay, yeah, okay, interesting. I find some interesting things that I want to go deeper into and see if there are really no other ways of using this, but I understand. So owned by, so yeah, makes sense. So if an object is needed in another model, but it origins from another discipline, then it says that structure. This is a structure, right? External specifies if an element is part of the building. I love this. So it means that we need external fire rating and acoustical in all the models. Acoustic we don't need in structure, but yeah, fire rating and external. Okay. The property is specified using the common property set available for the object classes. pset xxx class common is external. This XXX stands for the object class. It can be a wall common or slab common or beam common or whatever, right? So where we have XXX, it stands for the object, the kind of element. Fire rating refers to how well a material component or building part resists fire or limits the spread of flames and smoke. Applies typically to enclosing elements classes such as walls, slabs, windows, doors, etc. Fire rating is indicated in accordance with the National Fire Safety Classification. The property is specified using the common property sets in the same way. pset, slab common, wall common, fire rating, and so on. Acoustical property. The property indicates the sound transmission resistance of this object using an index value rather than providing full sound absorption values. It is specified in accordance with national building regulations. The property is specified using the common property set available for the object class pset. Okay, I love this because I learned these new things. Actually, I didn't know that these were requirements for, like, they are mandatory for all the models. So it's very cool to hear that. U value, heat transfer coefficient, often called U value. It's a measure of how well a building part, such as a wall, a window, or a roof, insulates against heat loss. Okay, so it's for thermal calculations. The U value is measured in Wm²K, watts per square meter per degree Kelvin applies typically to element classes that are part of the building envelopes. The property is specified using the common property set available for object class like pset, slab common, thermal transmittance. Load bearing indicates whether the object is intended to carry loads, true or not false. Applies to elements such classes as beams, columns, walls. The property is specified using the common property set available for the object class pset column load bearing. And as we saw in the table, this is for the structural one. Only for the structural model, and yeah, it's almost all the stages of the model. Okay, method for project information model. The following applies unless otherwise explicitly agreed and approved by the appointing party. I think I'll have to split this. It's becoming too long, so I don't want to bore you. I will go over these things next time. Because, yeah. And I think I will have also a session where I'll go over and see and show you how this looks in proper IFC. Okay, guys, if you have any questions, now is the time for you to ask. Yes, Abdallah, thank you so much for that. I appreciate you for helping out and explaining. Each material has unique, yeah. You know your stuff, so it means that you deal with these kind of things. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining. I hope you learned something. If you like the openBIM Harmony stuff, let me know, and I'll catch you up in the next one, guys. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining. Thank you very much, Abdallah, Juma, and everyone else watching. And yeah, we stay in touch, guys. Keep following. A lot more interesting and more practical stuff to come, but we have to start somewhere. Right now, I'm just going through these standards, and I want you to know what they are about instead of going alone, and also to hear my personal opinion on this. Thank you so much. I'll see you around.